Good evening, my gaming brothers and sisters. Welcome to Grown Up Gaming Podcast, Episode 4. Why can't we be friends unless we come up with a better name between now and the time it gets published? It is Sunday, November 13th, 2016. I am live from No Name Studio here in Tampa, Florida. And we've got a special guest with us coming all the way from very bright and sunny Oregon. It's Zul from the Geeks of Azeroth. Everybody say hi, Zul.
What's up, guys?
Hey, what's going on? Oh, man, I messed up my applause, too. Technical. It's not even a technical difficulty. We'll just call it a brain fart. Anyway, so we are here tonight. We're going to talk about some of our favorite moments from BlizzCon. This is going to be kind of a repeat for Zul because I listened to his show, Geeks of Azeroth, with some other folks, and they've already covered some of this stuff a lot more in detail than I think I could cover. But I want to cover some of the things from my perspective, get his feedback on it, and then tonight's what's the word I'm looking for? Topic on friends is about online friendship, and does that translate to real? I use air quotes, real friendship. So, Zul, tell us a little bit about you and how's your week been going in gaming?
Okay, a little bit about me and my week and everything. I'm Zul, as he said, from Geeks of Azeroth, and I've been gaming my whole life. Started on good old NES and Super Nintendo, Sega Genesis, all that stuff. Switched over to PC gaming pretty early on. I was probably middle school age. I started switching to PC gaming, and that's kind of where my heart lies. I do have a PS4, and I enjoy playing other stuff, but it's really on PC. And I've been playing Blizzard games since Warcraft, the first one.
So of everything. You play the original RTS games?
Yeah. I've played and beaten Warcraft, Warcraft 2, StarCraft when it came out, the expansion, Diablo 2. Yeah, I've been with Blizzard from the beginning.
Wow, hardcore. Are you one of those vanilla alpha guys?
Oh yeah, I was in the beta for WoW. Okay. Not the alpha, but I was in the beta before it came out, and then got it when it came out. Because it came out right after the year I graduated high school. It came out, so I wasn't in school anymore. I had like a part-time job. I was still living at home, so I was like, oh sure. Heck yeah.
Yeah.
But funny enough, I've always been a horrible altaholic and gameaholic, where I just bounce all over the place. I like lots of things.
Yeah.
So even though I've been playing Warcraft kind of off and on since beta, I never hit max level until Mists of Pandaria.
Get out of here. Really?
No. Yeah. And it was actually because I would play and then I would get distracted by something else. And by the time I got around to going back, I'd be like, oh, it's been too long. I got to start a new character.
Man.
And each time I did that character would get a little higher than my previous one. But then I'd stop again and back and back and back and back. And it was actually when I finally came back and I started getting involved in the podcast community, not as a podcaster, but just listening.
Sure.
It kept me around long enough, and I found a cool guild, and that's what eventually got me to max level, because I stayed interested because of the community. It wasn't just the game, it was the game and the community combined is what really got me into it. And now, I have multiple max levels, and I play all the time and just have a blast with it.
No,
but yeah, it was podcasting that got me to do it.
Isn't that amazing? And that's kind of, you mentioned something that, we'll kind of hit on later, but that community piece of it, because I started consuming podcasts around the same time, I think, maybe at the end of Cataclysm, beginning of Mists of Pandaria. And I don't know if it's just me or not, but it felt like that's when that podcast consumption scene just kind of blew up.
Yes.
And it really got me as a gamer, as a WoW gamer, in touch with a lot more people. And I felt like I was more drawn into the game at that point. So that's really good, and that's where some of those friendships come into play. We'll talk about in a little bit, but yeah, never a max level character until Miss, and you've been around. Yes. You're like OG Warcraft. That's awesome.
I only when they did the 10th anniversary commemorative statue that they sent out to people that have been subscribed enough. I was only like a handful of months away from being able to get it because of times that I'd unsubscribed.
Oh no.
I was like, shoot, dang. Oh man.
Are-
Oh well. You know,
yeah.
bygones be bygones, but that would have been cool.
That's a really cool statue. We have exactly 2 folks in our guild, I believe, that have subbed that long. And when they got those, they live together. They're together, and they got those in the mail, and they kind of posted them all over our little website. So it's it's like, oh, come on, man, you rub it in. But
Right.
So what's your week been like? Anything new this week?
This week I've actually there's been a lot going on this week, obviously. You know, don't want to dive too much into it because it's politics and everything, and people have been, you know, there's a lot going on, and a lot of it is very personal to people. And so that actually distracted me a little bit because I've never really been that vocal about politics before, but I kind of have been this time. So I've been probably saying too much and then going back to friends and family being like, look, I'm sorry, I got a little too involved. So there's been a lot of that going on.
Sure.
But funny enough, because of the stuff that's going on and not agreeing with it, it put me in a certain mindset that I decided to go back and start playing Mass Effect 3 again.
Oh, wow.
Because it's very much like despair, and I was just like, I just need to get some of this out because it's not this bad, but it's a good outlet. And I love the Mass Effect series. They're my favorite single-player series ever. And so I went back, started playing Mass Effect 3 again a little bit. I've done a little bit of WoW, a little bit of Diablo.
Sure.
But haven't gamed this week as much as I usually do.
Right. It's funny you mentioned that. I'm not, obviously we don't want to get into the politics piece of it, but you're right. It had an effect on a lot of people, and it does kind of feed into the topic tonight actually a little bit because, you know, we get back. So Sunday, everybody from our group from BlizzCon gets back to wherever they're from, and we came right back in on Monday, and we had one of the most efficient raid nights we ever had. We did we raid for 3 hours at a time. We cleared 7 of 7 heroic and then 7 of 7 normal back to back in those 3 hours. Yeah, it was beautiful. And then Tuesday, the election.
Yeah.
So Wednesday's our other raid night, and there were some folks in our group that were really bothered. I mean, like deeply concerned, and I get it. I'm not going to comment one way or the other, but it's one of those things where we ended up calling the raid, and we kind of had to make some concession there to allow for folks because again, they're our friends. They're not just people. They don't just fill a role in the raid roster. It's some people that we spend a lot of time with and we care about. So, you know, we talked it out and decided, hey, let's just push it off till Monday, give some people some more time to kind of gather their composure and come back in. So, ultimately, that raid piece and then getting my alliance tune geared up a little bit more, getting ready to try to do some higher level content. I've really gotten into Hearthstone, man, just so much this week, and I've never really been into it. I started playing a little bit before BlizzCon, and just the regular play, the PvP stuff, and then I bought an expansion last week, the League of Explorers, and 5 minutes when you sent me the message earlier, you said, "Hey, I'm online right now." I had just finally finished the last boss on normal. I've been working on that guy for about 2 hours, so.
Nice.
Yeah, so that was good. But, yeah, so that's our week. So we can move, if you're ready, we'll move into talking a little bit about BlizzCon. Does that sound good?
Let's do it.
Nice, let's do it. Okay, so first, now you told me earlier that you had not been to one yet, and I emphasize the word yet because I know you're going to.
I'm planning on it. I'd love for it to be next year. We'll see.
Hey, it's a commitment, man. So if you can get there, you can. You're an adult. You got things you got going on. But what I will say that this being my third, I went to 2013, 15, and then this year. It really felt like opening ceremony to me was just lacking. And that's not to say that I didn't enjoy it, because I loved it. I had a great time there, and I enjoyed the things that they did put out. But this was the 10th anniversary. This was BlizzCon 10, man. This is 20th anniversary of Diablo, 25th anniversary for Blizzard Entertainment, and it's like just a little content patch stuff. And I was like, it just kind of really feels underwhelming. I mean, I've seen Overwatch get launched. Well, that was 2014. Overwatch was launched. Warlords of Draenor was announced. Legion was announced. Movie launches were announced. All the things that I've been through. Do you feel like that was it was underwhelming, or do you think that was good enough?
I kind of did. I really enjoyed like the little look back stuff they did. I get very nostalgic for things, so whenever there's
Sure.
any sort of let's look back, I love it. But then there was one announcement that just yanked it right out of that, feeling like there wasn't anything big.
What was that?
The Overwatch League.
Oh yeah,
That was like, okay, boom, there it is. That's the big announcement, and to me, that was just as big as any other announcement they've done.
sure.
And I immediately got really excited about it. I'm hoping that it takes off. I'm hoping it does really well. I'd love to be involved in that. And I've never been interested in watching esports before.
Right.
And then when they said that, I was like, okay, I'm in. I'm going to start watching some stuff. I need to start watching some Overwatch matches and seeing what that side of everything is like.
Sure. Hey, I'm in the same boat. And the first esports I ever watched really was Heroes of the Dorm that was in 2015. And I'm a little selfish there. It's only because Arizona State was in it, and that's where I graduated from. So I was pulling for them. They lost last year, won this year. But you're right. Overwatch League was the biggest thing. And I think how they did that, or how they're doing this, is a really bold thing. No other game company is going out on a limb to say, hey, we're going to pick up this entire league and run it as if they were like the NFL commission or something like that.
Yeah.
But it really doesn't surprise me, because Blizzard's always done things a little bit on their own anyway. They really kind of stand out. But what I wanted to ask on that, the Overwatch League, so you're interested, and you haven't watched esports in the past. I'm interested because I'm a gamer and I want to see how they do with it. But do you think, people like us, is it enough to keep our interest long term?
I think so. Especially if you start getting to the point where you have kind of regional teams like they're talking about, because then you have that local team pride, and you can cheer for your team and watch them do good and watch them fall and watch them come back and make, the big comeback story. And you'll get tied to a team and the ups and downs of that as much as watching the gameplay itself.
Right. Yeah, I think it can be successful. I worry about the tenure of it. Something I had in the notes here, a couple things. So football is huge. That's probably the most popular American sport that there is. American football for any international listeners. The NFL, people complain that, hey, it's a very short season compared to some other seasons. So they've introduced things in the past. The World League of American Football that was played for a while, that lasted 2 years and tanked. You had some XFL that came out in the early 2000s. That tanked. You had girls playing football. That tanked. You have Arena League right now that's still going on, but it's not very popular. What I'm worried about is that we're so entrenched as a culture into traditional sports that we're not going to have the audience that we need. Tampa, we've got every sport here possible. We've got NFL, Major League Baseball. We've got everything. Are there enough guys like me, girls like me, that are going to be able to keep this thing afloat? And then where are they going to play them? There's a big, giant football stadium. I know they play football there. Where are they going to play these things at? Any ideas?
I mean, if it gets big enough, they could use sports arenas. I feel like for the major championships, they could probably pull off using a sports arena right now, but the regular matches, I'm not sure. I do think that they could get a big enough following. I mean, just Blizzard alone has millions and millions of gamers.
Right.
And something this organized, I feel like it can easily start pulling from people that usually don't watch or play Blizzard stuff. Because you have plenty of people that watch football, for example.
Sure.
But they only ever played baseball. It doesn't mean they can't watch and enjoy football. So you might have people that are involved in Blizzard, but will enjoy watching the competitions when it's this big and this well organized. And I think it will start bridging the gap to people that maybe don't even participate in gaming.
Yeah. No, that's a good point. So it's like, hey, my friend, I've got lots of friends who don't game, and they're like, hey, Mike, what are you doing this afternoon? Hey, I'm watching the Tampa Turbulence Makers, whatever they're going to call them for the Overwatch League. And say, oh, what's that? Oh, it's Overwatch. Oh, yeah, come on over, man. Let's check it out. I think that might help, like you said, bridge some of that gap. So then, if they don't tying back into if it's something that the regular matches can't be played in something large. Man, I hope they can put it somewhere live though, because I think it really brings some of that engagement if the crowd can see there's my team right there playing.
Yeah.
So
they've got to figure something out, because that is what makes it, because then they can start doing stuff like selling season tickets, and you actually go and watch, and that starts generating some revenue and everything that goes along with that.
Perfect segue, because that was something that I was concerned about. So how are they going to fund this thing? Because right now they got money to put back into the company for R&D, but now we're talking salaries on teams that are regional based. Traditional sports have ticket sales, merchandising sales, pay-per-view that happens on some of these things. What's the word I'm looking for here? Corporate sponsors. I mean, is Blizzard going to be able to find some corporate sponsors to put it in there? I really hope it works out for them, and I hope it's long term, and then we can start seeing some other gaming moguls get into the mix and start funding some of this stuff, so esports becomes an actual thing. So that was the Overwatch announcement. That was huge. Oh, no. Sorry, that was the big one. Yeah. But so Overwatch now, I think that has kind of taken over what Blizzard has been identified as. It's been, I think, Tom Middleditch, bless his heart. That was a very Southern saying, but man, he kind of said something on stage where Blizzard has been known for 25 years for Warcraft, StarCraft, and Diablo, and that's it. And now you go to BlizzCon or you talk to somebody that plays a Blizzard game, it's all about Overwatch. This thing is the workhorse. Do you keep a lot of gaming friends outside of online?
I actually don't have that many people that I know in person that game. It's mainly people I know online.
I'm in the same boat, man. I'm in the exact same boat. Yeah. So, I'm the only one. So if it's like, oh, actually, no, I'm not the only one. I got a couple. There's a guy at work that plays Overwatch quite a bit. And I just convinced him to switch over to PC on Overwatch. So he started over from being like level 70 on Xbox or 60, whatever, to PC. And now he's already almost at 60 again.
I might be making that jump soon, too. Because when Overwatch came out, it was when my computer still wasn't working. So I got it on PS4.
Ah, okay.
But now that my computer's working, I'm like,
It's hard for me now to play with a controller since I made this switch to PC about 7 years ago. So good luck. Well, you're using keyboards anyway because you got Diablo, Warcraft, and all that stuff too.
Yeah.
So what do you think about Sombra?
I'm really excited for Sombra. And she looks really fun to play. I like the tactical thinking of it. Like, oh, I can disable this person's powers and then fight them. Or I can toss this teleporter way up there. I'm in trouble. Boom. I'm gone. I'm out of harm's way. So I am really looking forward to it. I like her character design. I liked her menacing, but in a fun kind of way, attitude she had.
Yeah. I think I like to call that sassy. She was like very sassy about everything that she was doing. Gravion says, plays really well, super squishy, but very fun. See, I didn't get a chance. Well, I played Overwatch while I was there, but I didn't feel like learning a new character in that little 10 minutes. But I'm going to tell you what, they got me on that video. Because it was coming on, and I was like, oh, man, they screwed up something back there. It's about to go down. I thought it was a legit glitch, and then it came back on with her, and I'm like, oh, okay, joke's on me, I get it. The whole idea behind Sombra, I think, she's going to be innovative and bring some new stuff to the game that we hadn't seen before. And it does work with all the stuff they've been kind of leading up to with the hacking and the glitching and whatnot. So
it was the perfect way to introduce her.
Yeah, it was really good. And you had mentioned something about arcade mode, and I think I missed that a little bit. Talk to me about that a little bit.
Okay, so arcade mode is replacing the weekly brawl.
Okay.
So they will have brawl-like stuff within the arcade mode, but they'll also have 1v1 matches. and it randomly picks a hero that you both are. You're both the same hero, but it randomly picks it, and then you face off against someone. They'll have 3v3. So 3 against 3, but it's elimination. Once you die, you're done. You don't respawn. So it's, whichever team lasts the longest and takes down the others before they get taken down. And they said that they'll use the arcade mode to test stuff out like they do with the Brawl. They can test wild, crazy stuff just for the heck of it, see how it goes, have fun, and it doesn't really affect anything. The first thing I thought of, though, when they announced arcade mode was this is where they could put in PvE stuff, like the Halloween event.
Sure.
They could put it in arcade and cycle it through and all sorts of stuff. Because I had a blast with the Halloween event. I've never been a big competitive gamer, which is why I haven't watched esports before.
Sure.
I like co-op stuff. I love co-op. I love working with other people, and I had a ton of fun with the Halloween event. So if they start putting stuff like that into the arcade mode, which I'm hoping they will, I'll probably be playing a lot more Overwatch.
And I've heard a lot of folks talking about that they really enjoy the PvE side of it. And for a game that came out to be a first-person shooter, that seems to me, it just strikes me as that's an odd sentiment. I mean, I didn't play the Halloween event. I didn't play the Eichenwald piece of it. If that's a thing, I just got back in Overwatch a couple times this week. But I wonder what drives that desire to have PvE content in an FPS.
Well, I think part of it is when you get competitive, it's easy to get too involved and to get hurt feelings and stuff like that. But when you're working with people against the computer, then you can be like, okay, we just need to learn the strategy better. We just need to learn how to do it. And you're working together instead of feeling like, I don't know. I mean, I know for me, that's what I get. Sometimes I just feel like it's too much pressure to be facing off against other actual players. Sure.
And I think that's what causes the term nerd rage to happen. And one of the big reasons I don't PvP in Warcraft is because it's like, man, this is so frustrating and everybody's cursing at each other and it's just a bad environment. But God, what did you say right now that made me go one way or the other? God, I just don't remember. What were we talking about? Repeat everything you just said right now in the last 5 minutes.
Verbatim.
You can't miss a beat. Arcade mode, PvE, hurt feelings. I got it. The League. So you said the co-op stuff working against the computer. What about, I thought it was fascinating how they talked about the designers are going to create AIs to go against each other. Or this is an idea they're throwing right out there. So the designers are doing AI stuff and they're making AI teams. And potentially we could see the World Championship AI against the World Championship human players.
Yeah, they were talking about that for StarCraft 2, yeah.
Oh, that was StarCraft 2. Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, and to me, it's like, don't think that if it works in StarCraft 2, that they won't use something like that in Overwatch as well.
They'll start testing it out all over the place, yeah.
Yeah, and to me, that's fascinating. So then I think what happens is who gets... So what if you get to this World Championship, this finale, and the AI wins? I mean, who wins there? The designer, or they're just like, oh, sorry, you're asked out. We had this big check for you, but you lost. See you later. Go home.
Yeah, that's a good point.
You talk
who
about
gets the winnings.
Yeah.
Well, I feel like that would be just kind of a fun exhibition match,
Okay.
Maybe, I don't know, but it could be that if the AI was specific to the designers, then the person that designed the AI, they get a winning from that. That would make sense to me.
Yeah. Oh man, that's got debacle if that happens written all over it there. It's like, oh, I work for Blizzard and I got the of course the AI won, the Blizzard guy, and they get to keep the money. Oh man, that's all speculation. But anyway, so Overwatch, that was a big thing. Of course, Warcraft, where everybody, I think most Blizzard players, even if Overwatch is the workhorse right now, I think everybody's still playing WoW, at least a little bit, especially while Legion's still hot and fresh. Mm-hmm. I really enjoyed the patches that they talked about, the evergreen content. And while it wasn't a big announcement, it was a sustainable announcement. A lot of folks are worried about the future of the game with all the stuff's coming in there. I've expressed my thoughts. They're not concerns. I've expressed my thoughts on what I think they're going to be doing over the next few years or whatnot. But I think people needed to here's our long-term plan.
Yes.
Yeah. So
Absolutely.
evergreen patches, man, these things look like it's a world. Ian Hazzikostas said it perfectly. It's a world. There shouldn't be these things that are set up throughout time, and that's the only thing that can ever happen. We need to have some more dynamic content, and that's what he gave us. So what did you get from that?
They've been listening. Every single concern that people have voiced over the last few years, they have been listening.
Yeah, exactly.
And because everything they've addressed it, I feel like. And I just want to say, I am so happy with Ian Hazzikostas taking over for WoW. Just he's awesome, and listening to him talk about it, he's very straightforward. He openly admitted where they made mistakes. Because it's cool when you have the designers or the directors or whoever they might be, they get just as excited as we do, and they're pumped about it.
Yeah.
But that leads to over promises in some cases, or thinking there's a promise when they're just excited and saying, oh, it'd be cool if we did this, but people mishear it. Ian Hazzikostas is very good at being excited about it, but staying down to earth and saying, this is what's realistic, this is what we're doing, this is what we'd like to do, but we'll see. Like, it's very clear and straightforward with him, and I'm really excited to see him in charge of it right now.
It's interesting. I'm going to share two pieces there about that kind of relate back to Ian. I do like the fact that he's straightforward. He doesn't overpromise, underdeliver. He just kind of tells it like it is. He doesn't lead his announcements or reveals with a paragraph of disclaimers. He does say, "Yeah, if this doesn't work, we'll pull it out. But this is what we want to do." And a lot of people were uncomfortable when Ghostcrawler left, even though it was 2-3 years ago. And I know that systems designer and what Ian does may be a little different, but they're like, or even Chilton when he left recently, what's going on. But it really feels like Hazzikostas has a good grasp on what is going on, and the teams have to be excited to work for him, or I don't think we'd have the content that we have today.
Yeah, because we have some awesome stuff coming.
We do have some awesome stuff coming. Mini holidays, how do you feel about those? I'm not sure. I mean, I'm excited that there's more things to do, but I mean, is this something that you think will attract players, retain players, or we'll just kind of say, we don't need that?
It's not something that's going to attract new players, but it's something nice and fun for those that are playing. And exactly like he said, it creates a sense of a living world. These are what the people living on Azeroth would be celebrating. These are things they would do. The big holiday events, they're really for us. They don't really make sense within the world that much.
Right.
That's what these ones are for. It makes the world feel like it's growing and changing. And as things happen, they can add new mini holidays, such as a day celebrating when we took back the Broken Shore. That could become a mini holiday, a year from now, a couple years from now, whenever we do that.
Yeah.
As a commemorative event. And I think it's really cool because they're probably pretty quick and easy. They're not trying to make them full of achievements and exclusive items. It's just a little thing. It just adds a little flavor. That 1 or 2 days a year, you got something a little bit different you can go do.
Yeah, and that's exciting. But I wonder who dictates, hey, this is the new holiday. Like, who in the world, if there's somebody in the world that's maybe they're an event planner for the whole world of Azeroth.
Yeah.
Do they put that out there for a vote for the not the players, but the characters get to say, yeah, we'd like to celebrate this and commemorate this. That's a tangent. It's just that's immersing myself in the game a little bit.
Yeah.
But
how do they decide this stuff?
Yeah, how do they decide it? Not the real people, but the fictitious people inside.
Yeah.
Now, I do. If we look at the patches, we've got 7.1.5 coming, 7.2 coming. We know that's Tomb of Sargeras. I don't want to spend too long on that. The big thing, Argus.
Yes.
So, man, Gravion in the chat room. I know he's like, as soon as they announced it at BlizzCon, he sent a little group message to us. He said, I called it. And I think a lot of people thought that was going to happen anyway with the way Velen took off in that little scenario while leveling.
Mm-hmm. Yes, right.
And that's something that I alluded to in one of my previous episodes. Do you think, and I hate to keep asking a lot of yes or no stuff, but do you think that the predictions that we're done on Azeroth after this expansion or very soon after, do you think there's any truth behind it?
I don't think we're done on Azeroth. I think we will start traveling more. Like, each expansion will have parts of it on Azeroth, parts of it somewhere else.
Yeah. And I think they kind of do a little bit of that now without different planets. It feels like sometimes the Broken Isles are a different place altogether when really they're actually closer to the Eastern Kingdoms than Northrend is.
Yeah.
On the maps. So, who do you think the big boss on Argus is going to be?
We've got to be going after Sargeras, right? I mean, we just have to. Because that would be the reason we're going there. Would be to go after him to really end the Legion, finally.
But I wonder if it does.
I feel like... I don't know if they'll want to permanently get rid of the Legion, but it could just throw the Legion into disarray for the foreseeable future. They're still demons. They aren't a cohesive unit anymore, so they're not really a threat. They're just there. When they show up, you stop them, but they're not organized anymore. And then eventually down the road, they'd come up with a reason for them to be regrouping a new lead or something like that.
Yeah. Engravion says, I don't think we can kill Sargeras, and I'm glad you said that. The reason why I wonder that, he wasn't a Titan, right? He was a Titan Watcher?
He was a Titan.
So he's a Titan. So can we kill a Titan? The
others are all dead.
That's true. No, that's true. Is Azeroth dead?
Well, no, that's true, because that's a Titan spirit that hasn't fully been born and developed yet, but still could be.
Okay.
But if we don't kill Sargeras, however people want to say it,
right.
Can we banish him into the void? Because that's the whole reason he did what he did, was because he was scared of the void. So what if we tossed him into it?
Oh, man. Can you imagine that? Like, whatever you're scared of. Like, I'm scared of blenders and pudding. I'm going to throw you into a big mixing bowl and put you in there. just scare the shit out of somebody.
Right?
Oh, man. Anyway, that's some good stuff there. Heroes, I don't want to spend... Man, see, this is what happens when nerds get together and talk, because I can barely make my episodes last a full half hour as it is, and now we haven't even gotten through the news. It looks like Heroes, I don't play a lot of Heroes. I do just a little bit. I did like what they did with the cinematic with Varian.
Yeah.
It's kind of like I'm dead, but there he is in a manifestation and full of despair and goes down. I loved your thoughts on Vol'jin. Tell me about Vol'jin, man.
I am Horde through and through.
Loktar.
And since the beginning, trolls have been my favorite. Since the very beginning of WoW, I love the trolls. I love their lore. That they are native to Azeroth, unlike a lot of the other races that are there. They've been around forever. And Vol'jin has just been awesome since the beginning as well. And they get up there, and they're like, a hero made a great sacrifice, da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da, Varian.
You're like, oh, where's
someone
Vol'jin?
else died too, guys. Like, I get it if you can't add tons of heroes at once. I'm hoping Vol'jin gets put into heroes at some point. I really do. But at least mention him. He died too.
Yeah.
Come on. It was heart-wrenching when I had to watch that cinematic.
No, I know. Man, and you're right. Trolls, I was so happy at Siege of Orgrimmar. I'm not even going to say spoiler alert, because my God, this has been 4 years or 3.5 years or whatever. But at the end of Siege of Orgrimmar, when Garrosh was swept away or kind of killed or whatever he was, and I played, my druid at the time was a troll. And Vol'jin was given the mantle of war chief. I was so excited. I went and made sure my hair was exactly the same as Vol'jin. I was like, yeah, this guy. You talk about he's like the most objective, or was the most objective, leader out there. Everybody seemed to respect and love Vol'jin.
Yes, yeah.
And that's what kind of gets you, because Varian was a hothead. I mean, let's just be honest. He was kind of a dick sometimes.
He came around and was a really good leader and hero towards the end, which is why it made his sacrifice so meaningful. But yeah, he wasn't always.
He was like ruthless, man. He wanted to build a wall and make sure the Horde paid for it. Anyway. I digress. And then also in Heroes, Ragnaros, it's going to be interesting to see how that plays out. What a hard thing to balance with him becoming the
I've heard
tower.
he's super fun.
Oh, they had him for play there too?
Yeah, they did.
See?
I've heard that he is just super fun.
See, that's what I get for skipping the game lines and going to drink beer. That's what happened. I didn't get a chance to play Heroes. Hearthstone's coming out with their Mean Streets of Gadgetzan. They've got it up on pre-order right now. I haven't looked at it in terms of that, but some of the folks that listen to or that play Hearthstone a lot, they talk about, hey, we've already had a Goblins and Gnomes type expansion or experience in the past, so it seemed like it was kind of overwhelmed. But are you a Hearthstone player at all?
I have played it, but I'm not really a big player. But with Hearthstone, even though I don't really play it or anything, I love the stuff that they do with it, though. They have so much fun, and the ideas are so cool. I like watching all the stuff that happens with Hearthstone, because the League of Explorers was awesome, and then what was it, One Night in Karazhan, and now this. I love just how much fun they're having with the source material.
Yeah, it's almost like that's the game that they have a license to just not be so serious with it.
Yep. Just let loose, guys. Have fun. Brainstorm whatever you want and go with it.
The disco Saturday Night Fever thing for One Night in Karazhan just had me cracking up, man. The little trailer they had for it, I loved it.
Yep.
And you had mentioned something about would we want to see Gadgetzan expand in WoW to be like they're showing it here. And, man, I thought about that after you wrote that out there. I'm like, would we go there if they changed it at all? Would you?
Oh man, it's so tiny right now. It's like, okay, you're there. It would be fun to go see and have make a mini holiday there, where for one day the gangs rise up and try to take over the city, and you go fight them. Just for fun, just for kicks.
Yeah, they're talking about just to make sure I got it right here. Gadgetzan's the one in Daenerys, right?
Yeah, yes, I believe so.
Yeah, so they're already talking about doing something in Silithus with where the faction banner flying over.
The Gates of Entourage.
Yes, so you're already there. I mean, maybe that could be the hub. Door. Yeah, rework it, make that be the hub for that whole thing, and get it done. So that wraps up the gaming part of the announcements. I'm not very smooth with my segues, and I don't mind admitting that. So some other things about BlizzCon. Tom Middleditch, everybody was kind of excited before BlizzCon, saying, "Oh, he fits the bill." I had never seen the show. What's Silicon Valley? Is that
Silicon? It's awesome. It's a great show.
I wonder if that's something that's on Netflix already. Would I have to show?
It's an HBO show, so
okay. So if you don't have HBO, you're just kind of screwed.
Yeah, you can get like the HBO Go or Now or whatever it is. But yeah.
Yeah, so I hear this guy fits the bill. He belongs at BlizzCon because he it sounds like he embodies the culture, the gaming culture, the PC gaming culture. And when he gets on stage, I'll admit, I mean, he was pretty awkward. And he did look the part. I mean, if there was going to be a cliche, he looked like it, man. But I just felt like on social media afterward, people were just I was almost ashamed to be in the same crowd as some of the people that were putting it out there. Did you read any of that stuff?
A little bit. And it's happened to previous people that have performed there too. And it's just, come on. Blizzard hires people. We're not going to be able to find a consistent stream of people that are super into Blizzard games. We're just not.
Especially at the celebrity level, I don't think. Because the Blizzard games, to be quite fair, they require some dedication. You can't casually play anything really except for maybe Hearthstone, and that's it. If you want to be good at any of the games, you have to dedicate time to it. And, celebrity folks, outside of just their regular filming, they've got appearances like these or talk shows or whatever it is that they're doing. I've never been a celebrity, so I have no idea. But the interesting thing is, the next day I was sitting in the Hilton lobby by myself, just kind of taking a breather, and I'm reading Twitter, and Jay Mohr, or I saw Tom Middleditch reply to Jay Mohr, and Jay Mohr's tweet said something like, "Good luck to whomever is hosting BlizzCon tonight," because he basically said it was a collective bunch of bullies who were once bullied. And Tom replied to that and said, "Yeah, I learned that the hard way tonight."
Sadly.
Yeah, how long has it been since Jay Mohr was the host, and he's still throwing that out there in 2016.
Yeah.
So these guys are people too. I mean, and I think, and a lot of people say, well, if you're going to put yourself out there in public like that, you need to be able to take it. And I just think that's the wrong attitude
or
to take.
We could be nice.
Hey, there we go. Imagine that. We could be nice to people. And so I just felt bad, man. And I people tweet at celebrities all the time. And I tweeted at him and I said, man, I so wish I could apologize on behalf of the whole community, but I can't, so I'll just apologize that you had to go through it. And he didn't respond, but Jay Mohr actually did. And he said that, he goes, I made the mistake of going into comment sections on forums, or he went to discussion. Yeah. Afterward, he goes, and the way everybody spoke about me, and obviously this is in Twitter, so it's a lot shorter, but the message was, and seeing everybody accuse me of being on drugs while I was there, really hurt me. I've been clean since '98, and it's like, yeah, see, celebrities have problems. We have problems. If you don't like it, maybe say you didn't like it, but God, I don't know. Back off a little bit. Don't tear into
personal attacks and stuff. I mean, come on.
Yeah, that's a little bit much.
Yeah.
So, or you could say, why can't we be friends, right? So that's a good segue. We finally now into the topics. We made it 41 minutes getting into the topic. But I do appreciate being able to talk about that stuff. Otherwise, it's just me talking about, what I saw. So, I like it. So, at BlizzCon, there are so many people that I interact with on a daily basis, and on Twitter, I saw them there, and I didn't go say hi to them. I saw them, recognized who they were, and I just decided not to. And to me, it's like, well, why am I being shy? I'm a pretty outgoing guy. I think I am. I mean, I put myself out on the internet for whoever listens to this. I don't know who listens to it, but why wouldn't I have the guts to go do that? So then it made me start thinking, hey, our online friends, actual real life friends, and I say yes, they are. How do you quantify or qualify online friends versus real friends?
I definitely say yes, they are too. They are. If you're talking to them and participating in activities with them and sharing ideas and opinions, that's a friend. I mean, it is. Whether you ever meet them in real life or not.
That's pretty much sums up anything that I would have to say on it as well. The biggest thing that I put out there on the online friends thing is that I've got, so let's say we have 20 people in our raid group. These folks, I spend, aside from the people that I work with, I spend 6 hours a week in a dedicated, constructed environment with them. And then outside of that, we're spending some time doing things together. We have conversations about things other than gaming. And sometimes it gets real personal. I reached out. I'm friends with several of the people here on Facebook even, and I've had messenger conversations where we got into some really deep stuff, philosophical things, and I've shared and opened up to them more than people that I would say, oh yeah, this is my friend Jeff or Dave or whomever, introducing in person. So I think, but a lot of people will say, well, they're not real friends. They're just people that you play video games with. And I get that at my age. My 13-year-old daughter said, I came back with my little toys, little hit. Let me get one. Like one of these little guys. You seen these little pop hit things?
Yeah.
She's like,
yeah.
She's like, she'd laugh. She's like, hey, you're my dad. You're not supposed to have toys that you come back home with. But so it's that kind of mentality, I think, that says, hey, these aren't real friends. And absolutely they are. Do you have any groups that you play with, like a raid groups or?
I'd say the closest friends I have from online gaming probably actually come from doing old school tabletop gaming.
Okay.
There's a website called Roll20 where you can do old school tabletop RPGs, but it's all based online. So you have a chat room and it, facilitates the tools for dice rolling and all that type of stuff that you'd have to do.
No kidding.
And when I discovered that site years ago, man, years and years and years ago, they have a kind of looking for group type tool where you can say, these are the hours I'm available. Am I a beginner? Am I not? So, is it a game that's friendly to beginners and open to teaching them how to do it if they haven't done it before? And what type of gaming do you want to do? Just classic Dungeons and Dragons, Pathfinder, Star Wars tabletop rules, whatever it may be. And I got really lucky because it was at a time when I was like, I kind of want to get into this. Let's check it out. The very first group that I submitted to be a part of, they got back to me. Kind of the heads of the group were a married couple in Canada. And that was years ago. That was maybe not quite 5 years ago, 4 years ago-ish.
Yeah.
And I'm still in touch with them on an almost daily basis.
Wow.
I've taken a little break from being a part of the gaming sessions with them right now, but they have a current game going on because we've finished a few campaigns and then start new ones and go back and link together and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And the current campaign they have going on right now has an open spot for me if I find that I have the time and ability to dedicate to that again. And actually, half of the group in that campaign now are friends I know in real life from college that I was like, hey, do you guys want to try this out? Jump in. And so half of the group are people that I know from real life now too. And we all know each other. We all talk. We all talk about everything across the spectrum of games, movies, books, real life, politics, anything and everything. And it's not from Blizzard or WoW, but it's people that I, at least some of them that I have only ever interacted with online.
That's amazing. And no, it doesn't have to be Blizzard or WoW to have that interaction. And what a great coincidence, maybe it's coincidence, that these people in that campaign are people that you actually knew in college. So
yeah, I brought some of them in, and some of them I met through it. Some of them were we're looking for an extra player, and I'm like, I might know someone, and boom, now they're part of it too.
So can you just jump in a campaign like that? I'll be honest with you. As long as I've been gaming, I've never done tabletop, and I
hadn't until this. This site is the first time that I had ever done it.
Really? Huh? Do you get in voice chat like you would on Discord or something like that?
Yeah. We use I think lately we use Skype, but Skype has issues sometimes, so they use Mumble a lot now.
Sure. It
has a built-in voice chat feature, but having it separate just works out a little better most of the time.
Do you think the voice chat in any game, whether it's a tabletop like that or a Blizzard game, do you think the voice chat adds to the, what's the word I'm looking for? If you're trying to materialize a friendship, do you think you have to have the voice chat, or do you think those same bonds could be built just in typed out chat?
I don't think you have to have the voice chat. I think it definitely helps, but you don't have to have it, because on the other side, on the Blizzard side, I mentioned earlier about how Mists is when I really got involved, and I've been playing fairly consistently since and hit max level and all that stuff. Part of that was the podcasting community, and part of it was a guild that I joined at the time.
Sure.
That was really fun. And the guild leaders were a married couple.
Yeah.
And that guild kind of fell apart during Warlords.
A lot of them did, I think.
But a few of them, like the guild leaders, both of them, I had added on Battle.net as actual friends, and I still chat with them about non-game stuff. They knew when I started dating my partner that I'm with now, when we started dating, and then when we decided to move up here, and that I started kind of being a parent to her kids that she had from previous marriage. And they know that stuff, and I don't think. No, I have voice chatted a little bit with them, but the vast majority of it was just guild chat or just Battle.net friends chat.
That's amazing. And you met them because
they were the guild leaders, yeah.
Because they were the guild leaders. That's fascinating. I'd mentioned before that I think it was episode 2 was talking about stigmas. My gaming friends, and I reiterated this last night to one of my guildies that I have as a friend on Facebook when I was reaching out to that person. My gaming friends know more of me than any of my real life friends do, because none of this is me and this is personal. But none of my real life friends really know that I'm a gamer. I keep that locked up. So, but all my gaming friends know every other part of my life that I like, outdoorsy things, and I have, all the families and whatnot, and family of kids. So we share things, and it's definitely a rock solid friend. We have fights with each other. I feel compelled to apologize whenever I do something wrong. Like if I get mad in a raid and yell at somebody, I've done that before. I think Gravion can attest to that. But things like that. But the biggest thing for me that separate or that ensures a real life friend versus online friend, or are they the same, is the commitment. And I read that in an article. I don't remember. I've got a couple articles that I've referenced here that I'm going to put them in the notes. And I don't even feel like I need to talk about the articles too much. But one of the things that somebody mentioned, whichever author it was that commitment really defines, I think, friendship, and maybe even a little bit of expectations. So a lot of folks want to say, hey, friendships shouldn't come, or relationships shouldn't come with expectations. And this might, devolve some folks into a disagreement. I think that's bullshit. I think you have to have expectations from friendships. I think you have to have, I expect, or you should expect from me, that when you need a friend, I will be your friend. If I say I'm going to be here, whether that's to pick you up from work, whether that's at the entrance to the Emerald Nightmare, whatever that is, if I say I'm going to be there, then I need to be there. That's a commitment, and that's an expectation that you should have for me. Do you agree? Do you disagree?
No, I agree with that. That's what kind of really defines a close friendship from an acquaintance that you're friendly with. Yeah, you like hanging out with them, you like talking with them, you like playing a game with them. But that's kind of where it stops. But then a friendship is where you'll be there for each other. You're comfortable with each other. Like I mentioned, my friends that I met through Roll20, through the old school gaming.
Yeah.
I would feel totally comfortable at any time. If I needed to talk to someone and get something on my off my chest, I could jump on Skype and shoot them a message, and they'd be like, yeah, what's up? And they would totally be there and talk to me. And they know that I would be the same for them. If they ever needed to talk, that I would be there. And I have talked to them before when I've gone through stuff and been like, I just need to talk to someone. And they're like, yeah, cool, let's do it.
That's awesome. It's good that you have that. And I've held my commitments, like for my raid, and I was in the Marines, so maybe some of that has to do with that too. If I say I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it. But before I got involved in raiding this expansion, I actually had a conversation with my wife, because it's time intensive, doing the raiding. And I said, hey, if I tell them that I'm going to tank for them, I got to be there. And she was understanding. So that helped me nurture the friendships that I had online, while also maintaining, the peace between husband and wife. But do you think there are situational friends? So are there friends who meet the commitments, whatnot, but like would I consider somebody in my raid team that I don't interact with any other time? Is that a friend, or is it an acquaintance? We all work together, we meet those commitments, and we uphold those expectations. But would you consider that a friend?
That's kind of where I'd say it's like, and it's an acquaintance that you're friendly with. A friend, but they're not a close friend. They're not one of the ones that you go to outside of that activity.
Yeah.
And I have plenty of friends like that too. We're online, we game together, we have a good time, but that's it. There's not much outside of that, and there's nothing wrong with that.
Right. So it doesn't have to be all in or nothing at all. You can have situational friends, and that's what I kind of wanted to hear somebody else say that, I guess. So to kind of help justify for anybody else out there who thought, hey, I've got to meet this commitment to everybody that I talk to online, and that's just not the case.
Yeah, within that the old school gaming group that I gamed with on Roll20, like I said, the two kind of that headed it up, the married couple, I was definitely friends with them, but some of the other people that have been a part of that group were more that situational friend. They were fun to play with. They played fun characters. It was cool interacting, but it wasn't the same as with those two that kind of were heading it up that I actually have grown close to.
Sure. And that's, and I don't have a whole lot of listeners yet, but my GM, my raid leader, did say that he's listened to every episode so far. I hope they listen to this one too. But I've been playing with him and his partner for a very long time now, and it's interesting. I'll reach out to him on things that are personal or questions that I have that I trust him to answer with, or I'll say, hey, these are concerns that I have. And now this is talking like raid team, for instance. I'll say these are concerns that I have, but I don't want to address them because I'm afraid that people will, think I'm being too harsh or too straightforward or whatnot, because I'm kind of known for that sometimes. And I trust that he'll deliver that message with a softer hand. He's a really easy man. If you listen to this guy could soothe the grass, man. He's got a very soothing voice, and it's whatever he says is kind of like, okay. So anyway, that's kind of sidebar. But of course, and then some friends we disagree with, but we can still maintain that friendship afterwards. In light, I did put a little tidbit of trivia. I'm sure a lot of people knew that already, but with the political scene the way it is, hey man, even Thomas Jefferson and John Adams had major political differences, but they were still some best friends. They were pen pals with each other overseas while Jefferson was in Monticello. And so, yeah, let's see where we go. All right. Should have had that turned down already. All right. Zool, man, it was so great talking with you this week. I felt a little awkward, not going to lie. I don't mind publishing this, me admitting being awkward, but I've never worked with somebody like this before, so it's been fun. Where can people find Zool Geek?
You can find me on Twitter at ZoolGeek.
That's it? Like, you're not going to give them your home address where they can find you there?
Well, no, not quite yet. Get to know me a little better first.
Quite
I'll
there.
like below.
Perfect. Hey guys, if you haven't checked out Geeks of Azeroth, it's a really fun show. They have a good time with each other. You can tell these guys have been together for a long time because the chemistry is just there. They feed off each other real nicely. They cover the news in ways that just blow my mind. I love it. I love the show. Of course, I'm Cohumulone, or you can follow the show at GrownGG. If you have comments or you want to bitch at me or tell me that I suck, email questions at growngg.com. All this stuff will be in the notes. Thank you very much. That's a wrap. It's a terrible trumpet. I think it's why I like it. It's really bad trumpet.